Oh my god, I think it just started on the first try.
That's awesome.
I don't want to start till Liz is back.
We'll just sit here awkwardly.
She's effectively up first. The video is private. Why is the video private? Who set the video up, Gavin?
No, I didn't. It did that last time too.
Yeah, last week it wasn't showing up on the lives. It's still not, at least not on my end.
I thought it was because we had our strike, and I couldn't see the chat either.
Yeah, I could see the chat, but I wasn't logged in, so I didn't chat with anybody. But the chat was there last week.
Okay, I will do troubleshooting while we wait for Liz.
Yeah, I just figured it's because they don't like us anymore.
I mean, they never did.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the problem
So-
saying it's public and the video's up. I can see the chat.
Okay, says it's public. I think it's good.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've got it up right now.
Press F in the chat if you can hear us.
No, Chris is saying that it's public. We're good.
Yeah, but Chris also might just be a spy.
No, I'm reading it here, so it is, but it's also probably he is a spy, but he's not lying at this moment.
It's the accent. The accent gives him away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still a good
This is
shooting
back.
partner.
I will need to fix all my stuff. Whatever, we'll do it in post. Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 413 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live subversive podcast in Canada. We're recording on December 18th, 2023.
We need your help. To support Canadian Patriot Podcast, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 an episode. You can show that you're not a communist by buying a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, our homepage, and follow the link on the right.
This takes us to my favorite segment of the show. It's called What Are We Drinking? And what have you worked on the Patriot Challenge lately? And keeping with tradition, we'll start with Liz. What are you drinking?
This evening, I am drinking some scotch and ginger beer. Yeah, it's really tasty, in case anybody's wondering.
Mixed
Sounds
together?
good.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to scotch, though?
I was going to say, why would you do that to ginger beer?
So, because it just makes it last longer. Like if you're just sipping scotch, it's gone pretty fast. So I put it in a nice fancy glass and I drink it like that.
Have you tried just adding more scotch?
There's a
Yeah, I
lot
was
of
about to say-
scotch in that already.
Yeah, like
but if it's running out too fast, like just add more.
yeah, just have a glass like this, and then it doesn't empty as fast.
I still like I can handle my alcohol, but that once you get started, the slow down is a little challenging, and then you realize, oh yeah, all the things
Yeah.
that I was supposed to get done tonight, not gonna happen.
Yeah, see episodes 1 through about 300 and so.
No, that's not true. When did we do the daiquiri episode? That was in the early hundreds.
I still
Yeah, but
keep
it's
on
still-
hearing about this, but I haven't seen it, and I kind of would prefer to just see it in person.
Yeah,
Gavin and
Like
I
I
have
will
find-
bartend for you guys. I will feed you
All right,
the drinks. Yeah.
maybe we can
We
make
could
it a
live
fundraiser.
Yeah, we could live stream cocktail night and I'll just make you guys random cocktails,
I mean,
not
I'm-
just daiquiris.
I am fully in support
Yeah.
of all I can drink cocktails, but I think Gavin and I have also finally tuned our alcohol intake when it comes to doing the podcast.
Yeah, it took a few hundred episodes, but
It-
we
it-
finally
it-
dialed it in.
It is a school night, and we
That's
do have other things to do.
That's what I mean. It's got to be a weekend tonight. I can't do school.
Well,
night.
yes, I mean, if we want to do our best drinking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It'll be good. Anyways, something I've been doing on the Patriot Challenge is I've just been amping up my jujitsu and boxing and fighting and stuff like that. So I've been doing that. That's kind of been the main thing. Drinking a lot of water, not walking very much, but just training a lot more, so that's good. Reading more books. I'm part of a book club, so that's a thing. It's not as dissident as the one that you guys had, but
What are you
Should
trying to
bring
say?
book club back.
Yeah.
it's a bunch of girls. That's what I'm trying to say.
You should recommend A Clockwork Orange.
You have my undivided attention.
Yeah. Girls enjoy like Industrial Society and its consequences too. It is a phenomenal read.
Do you know what's really funny is my friend, I was telling him, I was trying to recruit him to this book club, and he's like, because he's friends with all these girls too, and he's like, no. He's like, but I do recommend that you read the Gulag Archipelago. I can't say that right. I've had too much scotch
Archipelago,
already.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I mean,
Solzhenitsyn,
it's
with a bunch of
Solzhenitsyn.
T's.
Yeah. And I was like, I would do that, but
It's a big book.
not this crew.
It is. If you want to make sure your house doesn't blow away in a tornado, strongly recommend you collect Russian literature.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. It's not very clear on the Patriot Challenge, but progress. We're just getting better. That's what matters. Pierre, you're next.
I am drinking brandy tonight. Patriot Challenge. Been
Fancy.
drinking Yeah, I still have some from when we got the house, and I need a new bottle, so I was like, I gotta finish this one. Drinking the waters.
You understand how that works, right? I need a new
Yeah.
bottle, so I must finish this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to
Yeah.
finish the old one before you get a new one, right?
No, you're justifying finishing it so you can buy another one. Whatever. Anyways,
So it all works out. I got another bottle. Patriot Challenge. I've been drinking my waters. Not so much on the reading part, but doing a few Audible books the last few weeks instead of mindless radio
that's good though.
podcast. Yeah, good books. Few. Hopefully finishing the one tomorrow, and is there another one after that? Doing renos, so working on electrical, plumbing, flooring, painting. I've given up on drywall, but
Yeah.
all the rest of the stuff, slowly getting it done still. Thought it would be done by now, but it's not, so it's just coming along day by day. What about you, Gavin?
I'm drinking the Jack Daniels and Cherry Pepsi Zero this evening. It is delicious. Patriot Challenge, keeping up on my water. Super important to keep up on the water. Reading, doing that too. Exercise slacked off a little bit because the girlfriend stopped doing her fitness challenge, so I didn't have to get up at 5 o'clock anymore. So I guess I'm prioritizing sleep, so that's good.
I mean, I guess so, but what would David Goggins say?
Well, that I wasn't
Pull-ups.
doing enough.
Pull-ups.
Start
Pull-ups.
doing push-ups.
Your bed is too
until my
comfortable.
hands are bloody and raw, and then once I
Did
can't
you
do
cry when
those
you were born?
anymore, go for a run. Yeah,
Yeah.
Did you cry when you were born?
Yeah.
Probably.
When you're born.
because they smacked me on the ass.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, definitely not living my best David Goggins life, but that's okay. One day,
One day.
probably the day
I have
that I
no.
die,
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say.
that guy is insane, but we shall see.
I
Andrew?
read his book. Have you ever read his book? Have you read
No, it's on my stack. I just haven't got to it yet.
So it's easy to listen to. It's
Yeah.
easy to listen to, like
Just
as an
him
audible.
yelling.
No, not at all. But
You're
let me tell
pathetic.
you, it doesn't give you any different perspective of him. The whole story, I'm like, this guy's nuts. Like, all I
Yeah,
think
I've
of,
heard a few of his speeches, and like they're all pretty.
he's savage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's room only for one David Goggins in the world.
Wow.
Everybody else is just, you know,
Yeah, I mean, the story
nice
of
to
him running the
themselves.
track until his feet are all bloody and raw while he's
Oh,
covered
yeah.
in like shit because he had to make like a time in order to compete in the first
Yeah.
ultra marathon is like,
Hard
I mean,
pass.
I appreciate commitment,
Yeah.
but yeah, nah,
Yeah. No, there's
I'm
definitely
good.
some things that just don't
Yeah.
jive in my brain. But
I prefer to do my pooping in the toilet.
I mean, I have heard that actually. A lot of runners and marathoners just kind
Nope. Good.
of, anyways, sorry for the side chat.
Well, I guess I will never be doing anything more than a half marathon because it sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, read the book sometime. It'll redeem my Clockwork Orange pick. And you'll still think that David Goggins is crazy.
It was worth reading Clockwork Orange, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think once to know that it's a shit book.
Oh, it was a terrible book. Like
Just like Fight Club.
I don't, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as bad though. I think it was how it was written because it was written for oration. Like somebody has to be telling the story. It's not a reader-friendly book. I was reading it manually and I was like, I can't read how this is written because I don't have this accent. I don't speak this dialect. So as soon as you play the audiobook, it was definitely better, but
No,
yeah, I found it better
disagree.
than attempting to read it, but I still didn't understand some of the books. I could kind of figure, or some of the words, sorry. You could kind of figure out what they were saying by like the tone and how they set the scene, but it was still.
That's what was the
Not-
problem with Fight Club was too, wasn't it? It was just a tough read. Like it just wasn't written well.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember. I did read it, but obviously it wasn't memorable.
I'm gonna say it wasn't an engaging read, and at times I had trouble keeping the thread of what was going on. But I mean, also the character might have been a schizo, so maybe that was intentional.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did you ever watch the movie?
What movie?
Fight Club?
Never heard of it.
You're bullshitting me. I was like, might be a schizo. Please tell me you're joking. That's like the only thing that makes sense in that movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Well, and
yes.
the fact that Meatloaf is in it,
I don't know.
and he would do anything for love.
But he won't do that.
Yeah.
That's the second time today I've gotten to use a Meatloaf reference, and Gavin was not involved in the first one, so
No.
You're pretty
Well, I
excited
feel
about
left
that.
out now. Yeah.
want to virtually high five Gavin on carrying the Meatloaf theme today.
Why don't you tell the listeners about your delightful, manly drink?
I have
Or choice of
beer.
words.
I am drinking Railway City Brewing's Gingerbread Winter Spiced Ale.
In case anybody's wondering, it is the bearded man's version of pumpkin spice latte.
I would strongly disagree in that it is a very festive, seasonally appropriate beer.
So it's pumpkin spice, but you know.
Right?
And you know what? In the fall, when they make pumpkin flavored beer, I drink that too. Seasonally appropriate.
Yeah.
And in the summertime, I'll drink a Radler because it's seasonally appropriate.
And through all of them, he's wearing his Uggs.
But yes.
Boots with
Keeps
the
all
fur.
the yes, keeps all the sheep shit off my boots, off my feet.
Yeah.
My
So weird
brain.
that those are originally for farmers, and now it's just like basic white girls walking around in them.
Bugs? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
an
they're really-
Aussie farmer thing.
Yeah, they're also very expensive if you get the name brand ones, like the actual UGG brand. Somebody was telling me about that, and I was like, those are just
Yeah.
bougie slippers. Why on
I do love a
earth?
nice slipper.
Don't get me wrong. If I had all the money in the world, I would pay $200 for a pair of bougie slippers, but anyways.
I mean, I guess that's a choice. So I am drinking my wonderful festive gingerbread winter spiced ale.
Mhm.
It's delightful.
Does it taste
Better
like
or
liquid
worse than the
cookie?
figgy pudding one?
not as good as the figgy pudding one. The figgy pudding one is more figgy pudding. The winter spiced one is, or like the gingerbread one is not as gingerbready as I would like, but it is nice that there's some other like cinnamon, vanilla, brown sugar stuff
Yeah.
going on. So I mean, like it tastes like Christmas cookies. Don't hate that.
Yeah.
Does it taste like gingerbread? I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, but like it tastes like Christmas baking, and I'm cool with that.
That's fair.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have like a 6-pack, but a couple of the podcasts, all right.
Well, I feel like craft beer, it's pretty hard to have like a 6-pack of craft beer in general.
No, that's complete falsehood.
Oh, I can't drink a lot of beer.
That's because you're weak and your bloodline is weak. You're an embarrassment to your ancestors.
Listen, I'll have a whiskey drinking competition with you any day. Bring it
Well,
on.
Okay.
Bring
I'm
it
down.
on.
I'm down. You guys saw me at the wedding.
Willing
Fucking
to do
pound of
switching
60 tonight.
alcohol.
That's true, but we also saw you the next morning and you look like the abominable snowman. You look
Yeah, well, I didn't put my hair. I
wrecked.
didn't put my hair. I didn't put my hair in the gay man bun at that point. So, in my
You look
defense,
So no,
you look
no,
pretty
no
wrecked.
gingerbread beer for Pierre then? Is that
no. No.
No, it was good though.
Yeah, whiskey all down. Beer, no go for me.
fair enough? I am keeping up with all the other things on the podcast challenge. I'm drinking my water. I've started tracking my water.
How's that going?
I discovered that I can get some dopamine from the Garmin app by getting a virtual little gold star for completing a set number of logging days in a row. And it's a repeatable challenge in the Garmin app. So now
Yep.
every day I write down in my Garmin app how much water I drank because I want it to give me another little gold star.
So you
Although
feel really good about
sometimes the
yourself?
Garmin app is motherfucker and tells you need to drink some ungodly amount of water if you've done any
Oh.
sort of physical activity.
Yeah, I took the dog for a walk yesterday. We went for 10 kilometers and it told me I needed to drink 4 liters of water. And I was like, or, and hear me out, you can go to hell.
I remember like one time, I think when we did one of those big rucks, I was recording it and it told me something like 6.5 liters of water. I was like,
You know.
like 4 is tough. Like
Yeah,
it's a lot. Like 2, I can do easily, no problem. 3, if I kind of push 4, if I really, but like 6.5 liters of fucking water. Like, are you crazy?
It's all you
Yes.
gotta do is drinking water, man. No, so
Yeah.
I started logging that to get the little virtual
Yeah.
gold star because I discovered there was an option. If you have so many consecutive days, they'll give you a little gold star. So
Soon you're gonna see Andrew's like entire fitness regime balance out
Yeah.
for the gold star. So, you know, when he
implying
used to work
that's not
10
already what
I was gonna say
going
when he
on.
walked 10
Yeah.
kilometers but realized he had to drink more water, it slows down on the kilometers so that he can get all
Just
the
once you've
benchmarks.
got like a really good long period of tracking like a high intake of water, just make sure to screenshot that and send that to Emily because I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
Likely, very
Yeah.
likely. Emily may have had a small number of complaints about drinking a gallon of water.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good times. Doing the exercise. Gonna have my 17 books read for the year. Not quite as high as I would like, but hey, better than one a month, so it's a win.
That is good.
Would really have liked to get 18, but I'm not going to get unless I have a cheat book and I read something silly like a 20-page thing. I'm not going to get through 18 by the end of the year, but I'll get 17.
You mean like Dangerous Game?
Yes, I mean like Dangerous Game, which
You know,
I'm
Clockwork
not.
Orange was a really tiny book.
Yeah, not doing that.
yeah, yeah. Reread it.
Yeah, reread it. Tell us how it really makes you feel.
No, I'm good. I think that's more or less been the thing. Working on doing the stuff, trying to be a good person, logging all my stuff, getting my little gold stars, drinking my festive holiday beer.
Who's your judge
Alright.
of whether or not you're a good person? So you're trying to be a good person. You have somebody.
I'm the judge of that.
Okay. Just checking.
I mean, who else would it be?
I don't know.
Sky Daddy? think there's someone out there looking out for you? You think
Personally,
you
I could
think
get
I'm
into it
important
as-
enough that like someone out like externally cares about what I do? They have their
Well-
own things to worry about.
I could get
mean,
into a topic. I could get into a
I know,
conversation
and
with
that's
you,
kind
but
of why I'm like poking the theological bear over here, because like my gods require nothing other than that I am me.
it's fine.
Well, and the occasional sacrifice from time to
And
time.
the,
I was gonna
well,
say, I was like,
I mean, it helps.
Yeah. If you want to gain favor, yeah.
that's all right. My God loves you.
That's fine. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Only what? 3 more sleeps till solstice?
Well,
2
22nd.
more sleeps. 3 more sleeps?
Oh, let's see, the 18th, maybe a few more.
Solstice, I
Friday.
think.
22nd. Is it not?
Okay. I thought it was the 20.
You guys are really
first,
rocking.
Saturday.
You guys are really rocking
Huh?
your religion well, hey?
Friday.
It's reconstructed from a bunch of poems written a long time ago
I'm just being a dick. I
that have
don't
been
really.
corrupted by one of your people.
Oh, probably. Guess what? Christmas has been corrupted. Like,
I mean, can't argue that.
yeah,
No,
so
no, that's a definite.
it's just a benchmark on a calendar that
Yeah.
Hallmark owns now. So
Oh,
Yeah.
solstice is the 22nd. I had it in my mind that solstice was on the 21st.
well, is that like actually aligned though with the changing of the season? Like, isn't it supposed to be the first day of winter or something like that?
Well, it starts, I guess, technically it starts the evening before the solstice. So the evening of the 21st is Mother's Night.
Okay, that's what I always get confused about because I'm always like, is it the 21st or the 22nd of that month that
But
is
then the 22nd is the
changing of-
first full day
Oh, okay.
of the Yule. And then it ends on what, like the 12 days
2nd
later?
of December or something?
Yeah.
2nd of December, that makes sense.
I was
2nd of
gonna say,
Hence,
it's like,
hence
wait
the
a
12 days
second.
of Christmas. Yeah.
12 months of Christmas.
For some
Actually,
people,
so
yeah.
lucky.
Cool.
But anyway,
Well,
I am
anyways,
I am
is
not
it-
here to try
I
to
mean-
challenge Liz to a theological duel. But
I'm not really here either, but I will poke the bear whenever I get the chance. So,
That's fair.
but hey, what a great, lead into it being the last podcast before Christmas. So
Okay.
we talk about
So-
Christmas traditions from different parts of the
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like anything significant happened in the last few days that we could talk
nothing,
about.
not at all.
are we actually? Because I would be way happier to talk about people's Christmas plans than like
You don't like C21?
I like C21 as much as I like Justin Trudeau.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I have my buddies from the States messaging me all the time with these little like clips, and they're like, how have you not got rid of this guy yet? I was like, I
'Cause we
don't
can't.
know. It's so different in the
Yeah.
States.
Because if we even make a joke about getting rid of that guy, you'll get a visit from the RCMP.
I'm waiting for that
Yeah.
day. I've already taken on the census lady, so I can take on the world now. Not true.
I
but-
mean, I like your enthusiasm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I absolutely said it's not true. But
No, you should just embrace your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for a visit.
It's fun.
I'd be interested
Yeah.
to know the process, the ins and outs of the process. I used to be afraid of that sort of thing. You're just like, oh, what's going to happen? There's so much.
Well, they
about it,
knock
but
on your
it's like-
door and ask if you can talk, and then you go, "No, I'm busy." And then they go, "Well, what if we just sit in the backyard with you?" And then you go, "Fine." And then you sit down and have a conversation with them for a little bit of time. Not that this has ever happened to me.
In order for them to sit down in your backyard and have a conversation with them, they have to show up to the correct address first,
Yeah.
not a similar address in a completely different town that you did not disclose to them when they called you.
Yeah.
Hypothetically,
Hypothetically.
Well, hypothetically,
in a book I'm writing.
what are hypothetically for this fictional character? What are you allowed to completely refuse conversation with them?
I don't see
Yes.
why not.
Oh, well,
They're
that's what I
just
thought.
People.
Yeah,
Well-
unless you're being charged or there's something where
Yeah,
like
so-
they can do something. Like, yeah, you can tell
They're
them.
not
Even-
peace
even then-
officers. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. The RCMP are peace officers, but like they would have to find you in breach of peace and charge you with something.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
what I
only
kinda
thing that
thought.
you're required to do is Upon arrest, you are supposed to identify yourself.
What happens if you don't?
At what point do I get to scream, am I being detained?
Well, and so that's like they can detain you,
Memorize
but
all the movie lines.
but while you're detained, you are not obligated to answer any questions. They can't really do a whole lot while you're being detained. Their powers increase slightly if they place you under arrest, but in order to place you under arrest, they need to have a reason to do so. At which point, then, like, you don't have to say anything either, other than call my lawyer.
Yeah.
So, like, realistically, you
I
don't
do
have
enjoy
to say
referring
anything.
people to my lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if they showed up at your door, like technically you don't even need to answer the door. Even if you're inside cleaning and they knocking on the window, like you could easily ignore them.
Yeah.
You can't
That's
You are
kind of what I
under no
thought.
under no
Yeah.
obligation to have any sort of conversation with them whatsoever, whether
just-
But,
they
I mean-
are detaining
I
you, arresting you,
would
or
really like to
otherwise.
at some point yell at a peace officer, am I being detained?
Yeah. Have you seen the video of the guy in Australia as he's getting carried away, and he's talking about like a succulent Chinese meal?
No.
Oh, you guys have to watch that. It's so good. It's apparently
Okay.
like some criminal that was being taken out by the cops, and it turns out like it was a wrongful like
Rest.
identity thing.
Okay.
They thought he was somebody else, but he was actually a criminal as well. So like they got the person wrong, but ended up getting a criminal.
At
And
least
like
they did that.
he's starting to lay the groundwork for like an insanity plea by saying like ridiculous things.
Oh my
And then he's
gosh.
just talking about like his succulent Chinese meals. And then like at one point he's like, are you grabbing my penis? And he's talking in this very strange voice. Like, oh, it's hilarious. You'll have to watch it.
Add that to the show notes so that all of the listeners may enjoy it.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, what is it? Democracy something or other is the title of it. I'll find it.
That sounds
Excellent
amazing.
book by Hans Hermann Hoppe by a similar title.
Yes.
Probably different content.
No,
Okay.
we have to physically remove them from society. I feel like it's very similar.
Okay. That's great.
As
That's great.
my buddy Triple H would advocate for physically removing them.
Yeah.
The wrestler?
Yes.
Hans Hermann Hoppe, yes, the wrestler.
Democracy Manifest is the name of the video.
Okay, yeah, you definitely need to put that in the show
Yeah,
notes.
put
Yeah,
it somewhere.
I'll
I'll
add
have
it
to
right
check
now
that out.
to the show notes.
But we'll not watch it while we're doing the show. 'Cause
Yeah.
that will cut into doing the show.
Because yeah, we've
So are we doing like family festive holiday traditions?
You
We
tell
talking
me.
about Festivus?
Sure, we could. Let's do Festivus.
Are we doing?
We could do both.
What do you do? There's like an aluminum pole. How does this work? Explain to me your strange religious practices.
I don't have like a lot of strange religious practices unless like Sunday is Christmas Eve, so I'm going to church. Like, but I do that on Sundays.
Sweet.
So yeah.
And how does the aluminum pole fit into this?
Excuse me?
Is there not a Festivus pole? Is that not how this works?
No,
You
not
telling me
really.
that Seinfeld has been lying to me this whole time?
You're telling me that you've been believing Seinfeld this whole time?
I believe Seinfeld more than the fucking government.
Oh, well, that's, yeah, fair. Yeah. No, I don't think that. So my church is also like a little different because my church like never shut down during COVID. They held a gun course there not that long ago. We have homesteading seminars and we have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ministry. So, like we're a little off-brand.
I
Is
mean,
it like
I think
that
I like this
Korean
version
church
of the
where they have, like,
Jesus.
Okay, y'all just start
the
speaking at the same
hats made
time.
of bullets and stuff. Have you seen that one?
Excuse me? No.
Yeah, there's like some Korean church in the States that does like an AR blessing ceremony, and like the priest or whatever wears like a crown made out of bullets. Oh, it's
No, my pastor is like in his 30s and has like tattoos and a trendy haircut. I don't know. We don't quite have bullet helmet
wow.
things. Yeah. Nope, nothing of the sort. generally
Okay.
try to do something nice for the community. So a bunch of us are heading out to some homeless encampments and taking some food and warm stuff. So
I'm challenging them to jujitsu matches.
you know what?
That's a new kind of bum fight.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All of the things wrong. Not okay. First of all, just because they're homeless people, like their hygiene's not the highest. I'm not really gonna engage.
So a lot of ringworm.
Probably.
All of it. Yeah.
There's just probably a lot of things. So we're handing out like hygiene packets as well, actually. So
Well, there you go.
we're
That's very
doing
nice
stuff
of you.
like that.
Well,
Well,
you're a lot
there's-
better than I am because I would not. I don't care to.
You know what though? So here's the
process.
thing is that what is it? They said that the homeless population, obviously tent cities in quite a few places. Like Stratford's got a little tent city now, Kitchener's massive, London is gross. So it's just kind of like in our area, even it's probably 3 times, like it's tripled the homeless population. And I just keep thinking that that's only happened in the last couple of years. And we all know that the government is kind of screwing around really hard with a lot of people's capacity to live life in a manageable way. So even if that wasn't the case, even if it was, drug or destitution related, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm here. I have a great family. I've got a great situation. Not everybody had that. So kind of like to, be reminded of that every once in a while by handing out sanitizing wipes to people on the street every once in a while
Fair.
so that Pierre can wrestle with them.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks.
That was your idea, man.
No,
No, it's my idea to wrestle them.
yeah. And I
Okay.
said that's just a new version of bum fights.
Yeah, either way,
Well,
all of it gross, repulsive.
I'm not saying I approve. I'm not saying I'm not going to subscribe either.
Ugh. Cool. Anyways, that's Christmas. Next. Does nobody else have any traditions?
Next, that's your awkward
nothing
transition.
exciting.
Next.
Yeah, nothing
Next.
exciting. I drink a lot with my friends. We
Do you guys
should
do
try.
like Christmas morning stuff? So I'm assuming that Pierre you do because you've got a little kid, but well, she's not little,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So I wake up, have crack a fresh bottle of Bailey's,
nice.
coffee and Bailey's first thing in the morning. It's been a family tradition with my
Can't drink all day
families.
on Christmas if you don't start in the morning.
Exactly. So all the boys / men in my family, like my dad smokes, my oldest brother smoked, my other brother smoked, I smoked. We all drank coffee. So family tradition was we'd all wake up. My sister just would sit inside and like eat the tangerines and whatever, and we would all have coffee and Bailey's first thing in the morning, go for a smoke, and then just hang out for the day, open up presents, have a good meal,
That's nice.
play some family games, like just try and spend the day with friends, family, whoever that you don't want to punch in the face is
Oh,
pretty much all of it. And then like if presents are there, cool. If not, like I don't care for presents. Daughter's still young where presents are everything. So, we try and make her Christmas very nice and get her a few things from whether it's Santa or us and just have the day to spend with the family, try and stay away from technology and just enjoy the peoples. And that's about it for me.
that's good.
No, I mean, I wake up in the morning. We do presents at the house with Angela and I, and then we'll go to the diner down the road because they're open for breakfast on Christmas Day, and then just head over to the parents' place for a meal.
Nice.
So nothing
Nice.
crazy.
Do you guys do anything for like your Yule stuff though? Or is it just kind of silent observation?
Yeah, no, like I'll like burn Yule blend, incense and light candles and pour out some alcohol and things.
Okay. I'm not at all familiar with traditions surrounding that, but I've seen your little
Well, maybe I'll have to
Yule
throw
nativity scene that's not
some sort of Yule festivities where we can all go and partake.
there you go.
I got some mead. Also, I got some things we
Nice.
got to burn. So
Yeah.
Is it like a specific stuff you burn, or is it just kind of like similar to sage? You know,
Yeah,
like
you
you're.
could-
uh,
Yeah.
I have some stuff that is probably not dissimilar to sage. I have a bundle of things that is going to need to be burned at the end of Yule.
Is it kind of like just
Aromatic
Is it a-
herbs and things?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Is it a
symbolism.
bushel? A
Not
No,
bushel?
but
quite a
like I mean,
bushel.
when you smudge stuff, it's probably similar to that. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, but what's the meaning behind it?
Oh, I have a bunch of herbs that I was given that have been hanging out on my altar. So that's gonna have to get burned at some point because that's the next step for them.
Yep, but why do you burn them?
Because that's the next step. That's what you do. That's
That's
the
what-
next.
yeah.
They have been used up. They're spent. They're done. Their next thing is to go and be burned.
Okay, I don't feel
Yeah,
like that
so-
answered my question, but
That,
I
I
definitely.
mean, there is no evidence
Symbolism?
per se that like this was the thing that was done, but also like every religion of some sort burns incense of some kind as an offering to God or gods or whatever it is, right?
Oh, okay, got it.
So
That's
there's
just the
no
next step.
real significance, but like basically you burn whatever it is that is pleasing for you. So I mean, like I've got a special Yule blend thing that someone local to us makes. It smells like Christmas. It's great, but it's like a little bit of cedar, a little
Yeah.
bit of cinnamon, and some other stuff in there, so it smells like Christmas. But like, I've also got various types of sage and wormwood and Palo Santo and all kinds of other things that also work. It's
Awesome.
it's more about the intention behind the act than the actual act itself.
Okay, cool. That makes
My
sense.
bundle of herbs is not dissimilar to Gavin's, and it's
Yeah.
just because it smells nice because it's Christmas
Got it.
and
Okay.
because it'll burn good when it's all dried out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not wrong. Not wrong.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you pour one out for your homies, like you have a little offering thing. So that's one of the other things that you do is like you make an offering. So not unlike a tithing,
hmm
you make an offering of food, alcohol, tobacco, whatever it is. So if it's a thing that can burn, you could throw it into a fire to offer it up, or you can leave the offering outside if it's food and let the animals eat it, because in theory, that's the gods in animal form coming and eating it.
Got it.
Well,
Okay.
you got to leave some porridge out for your local trolls.
Yeah.
House elves
Careful,
and
around
things.
your place, you'll get some trolls.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like,
Yeah.
They do live under the bridge, not too far away.
I was gonna say.
not
I was,
untrue.
I was like, that alcohol and porridge might really
Yeah.
get taken up.
Well, and then there's, the house spirits and whites and all of the things like that can
Yeah.
come and mess with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you do anything for the wild hunt?
Uh,
Whites and things like barrel whites.
I mean, not really. I just, I mean, you just got to make sure that you bang a drum so that the sun comes up the next morning. But like, other than that, no.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'll usually, yeah, pour out some alcohol for, our homie Odin, light a candle, burn some incense, but nothing specific for the wild hunt. No.
I just don't want to get carried away. It's the
No, you do you.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna
we could
say,
do a
man,
whole thing if we want.
I was gonna say if we see news reports of a guy running in a fur cape through the field near your
Man,
area,
I wish I could
beating
afford
a
fur
drum
cape. Have you seen the
with
have you seen the
alcohol.
price of things lately?
Yeah.
Go get your own
Inflation's a
fur.
nightmare.
I was gonna say, I was
Yeah,
like, my
that's
mom
a
is
new skill.
currently tanning a couple of deer hides for me, so
So you're saying capes are an option?
capes are an
Yeah.
option. I'm not sharing my fur with you though.
I mean, not all heroes wear capes, but that also doesn't mean that you can't.
Also
Just
true.
saying.
If we
I mean,
hear
it's
of
it's coming to a good.
anybody,
It's coming good to coyote season. get some coyotes, tan
I
them,
really want
make some.
a coyote or a wolf head hat.
Oh, that's fair.
I'll
My
let you know.
brother-in-law actually,
I got a lead on a property that we might have to go take care of some yotes.
I'm in.
you can freaking come down here and do it with my place.
I'm in.
It's I'm in. Yes, pick me.
Yeah.
I really
I'm
want
down.
one of those hats where it's still the head that you just
Well,
put
so
on
that's
top.
also a really great way though. My brother-in-law has one hanging on his wall like that. A coyote, maybe a wolf, no, a coyote. It's a really great way to practice tanning hides too. Is do it with coyotes because it's like, I don't know, trash animal. So
If you screw it up, you're not going to feel bad.
yeah, you're not gonna
Yeah.
feel bad, and there's like a dozen more.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw the carcass here. It'll draw in more. Boom, boom, good to go.
That works.
And here it's open season, so have at her.
It's
We
open
should
season
probably-
year round in most of Ontario. No bag
That's
limit.
because
You can shoot them as many as you want, and have as
Yeah, 'cause
many.
they're pests.
Won't take that. Yeah,
they
and
really
you can make a good.
are.
And then so we can learn how to tan the hides, and then we can make a stew in a pot
No.
over a fire.
No, don't eat it.
I'm
I'm
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
gonna eat
I would
coyote,
rather
thank
catch
you.
a bunny rabbit or eat a squirrel.
Yeah, don't
Why not?
don't.
You know what coyote meat is good for? Baiting for more coyotes.
No,
That's
Yeah.
what coyote meat is good for.
take the back straps, chop it up, make a stew.
No.
I don't
So
know.
are we-
We'll serve it to you first, Pierre.
Are we
Yeah,
going to
I'll
take
eat
bets
it.
on how long it is until the Liberals pass a new bill to turn your coyote rifle into an assault weapon? What's the
Depend-
over
I
under
don't
on that?
know. So okay,
That's
so
a good one.
that is a good one. I don't think that's going to happen though, because you'd have to go down the list of
No,
you'd have to go down the list
Well-
of like bigger rifles, bigger
No,
hunting
so
rifles.
Scary sniper rifles that can shoot stuff from a kilometer away.
Yeah.
right? So like what's a so
That's fair.
let's
Well-
just talk strategic planning. If you're gonna go coyote hunting, what do you want? You want a 223, 22 250,
50 BMG.
right? If you want to salvage
Obliterate
some
it.
of the pelt, like I mean, if you're just
I
trying
want,
to get
I
rid
want
of
to
pests,
turn the coyote inside out.
yeah, then you want a 50 BMG, right? But I mean, if you're gonna go coyote hunting, you want to keep the pelt.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
probably gonna go 22 250 or 223, right? Like,
yeah. Be a
so you're not
small,
going-
fast.
yeah, I like mine. I bought a 22 250. That's my varmint gun. Take care of gophers at 300 yards or coyotes at 300 yards. Like it doesn't matter. Reloading the ammo, anything past 100 yards, it makes a little hole on the inside. No exit wound. Animal drops dead. Everything's good, right? So I mean, like if they're gonna go after 22 250, it's not really a round that people a very popular round for hunting.
Well,
right?
so here we go. Let's get into this a little bit then. So
Yeah.
we're kind of alluding to Bill C-21
Kind of
Yeah.
just subtly.
that did pass the other day,
Yeah.
Thursday, and then Friday got Royal Ascension, which I think is like one of the fastest bills to get Royal Ascent. Like
Ugh.
Yeah, even if
It's
it was Thursday
insanity.
morning and not and like even if it was Thursday
it
morning
was
that
crazy
it went
fast
through
that
and
they did
Friday
this.
end of day. Like that still seems
Not that there's
really
any
fast.
sort of weird collusion between the Governor General and the Liberal Party or anything. But
Oh my God.
there was a bunch of bullshit in it. It passed 60 to 24. Apparently
in
with applause in the
Senate?
upper chamber in the Senate. Yeah. Again, like you think some of these people were supposed to like be, you know, bipartisan or not partisan at all, even though they're designated as like liberal or not saying they're liberal, but still liberal. Because there's some undeclared or independent senators, but they're all shitty liberals. But the biggest part of this,
That's a disappointing figure, though. Like 60-24. That's like
yeah.
that is only a little more than 2/3. That is not 3/4.
Well,
But once again,
I
democracy.
mean,
in
almost
action,
2/3.
everybody.
So, like
Yeah.
you're not off
more
by
than
much for
2/3.
keeping.
That's what I'm saying. It's more than 2/3, but like just 70%.
yeah.
Yeah, you're almost at 3/4.
But like, again, democracy in action. Anyway, sorry
Yeah.
I interrupted.
No, no,
Go
no.
on.
So part of this was there's now a technical legal definition of an assault rifle. So this is the thing that like there is no such thing as an assault rifle unless you take a rifle and assault somebody with it because it's an action, not a descriptor. But now there is in Canadian law, because this passed, a legal definition of an assault rifle that is not dissimilar to the one that they tried to sneak in one of the amendments previously. In fact, it is exactly the same, where it is let me read this here. It includes a firearm that is not a handgun that discharges center fire ammunition in a semi-automatic manner and that was originally designed with a detachable magazine with a capacity of 6 cartridges or more. The only difference between this definition and the previous one, which was exactly the same, is that this only includes things that are designed and manufactured after this Friday that just passed.
Okay, so if I get this right, if I was a gun manufacturer and I tried to do something, I would originally design a rifle that had an interior magazine, and then 6 months later come up with a different package that you could change the
No.
chassis, whatever, that can now take a detachable magazine. And it would technically not meet the criteria for this because the original design did not have a detachable magazine.
Seems
If
very
you were to
complex.
change that, that would be enough of a design change.
It's not a design change, it's an option package.
No,
This is a silly argument.
it would
The point
it would
is,
be a new design. It would not count.
But is it a design if it's just like not even a chassis, but just like something you can add on to whatever?
The
Like
RCMP Firearms Center is going to say yes.
Yeah,
Because they hate you.
So the feeding path for a tubular magazine, as opposed to, unless you had some sort of like M1 Garand or like an SKS.
So that's what I'm talking
has
about, right? The
an
SKS,
internal magazine.
right? But you can buy something to make it external.
You
So
have
you're
now
not
redesigned it though.
Yeah, but you didn't redesign the gun, technically.
This sounds like word
original intent.
salad.
Yeah. So that's what I'm curious. Like, would that work?
I'm
Or
sure
am I just giving them ideas of how to
You would
define
still
a new
be
technical definition?
so you would still be limited to only putting 5 rounds in it. Even if you could get away with
Yes.
manufacturing a gun that's semi-automatic that has some sort of built-in magazine that is part of the chassis of it, but not part of the action. And we're able to replace the chassis and now have it be a detachable magazine, much like you would do with, say, your Remington 700 that came with no magazine, except for that internal 3-round one that everyone hated.
Yeah.
And now you get a aftermarket chassis, and now it takes detachable magazines. I would say that the RCMP would tell you to go and pound sand and that you've now created a prohibited device. But even if they didn't, you would still be stuck at 5 rounds. So you're not like gaining anything.
I'm not saying you gain anything by now you can put a 30-round mag in, no different than any of our gun laws are now. But I'm just saying, like, so if you want to build a chassis for a rifle, do you have to go through the RCMP and to get anything notarized? Or
well, there's a bunch of other
approval?
stuff in here now that has to do with building of ghost guns and manufacturing of things that you're not supposed to have. So they're going to crack down on that as well.
Well, I'm not opposed to that, but is there a law against me building my own chassis for an action that's already legal?
So that's it all depends on how this stuff is worded and now what they consider a gun and building a ghost gun and modifying guns. So previously you were allowed to manufacture your own firearm for personal use. And in the last couple of years, we have seen that they're even challenging that. So I would say that if you are building things to circumvent while still complying to the laws, the RCMP, at least under its current direction, would not see that as you being within the law.
Yeah, this is just a spirit versus letter argument, and the firearms
Yeah.
is going to come down against it.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at what they've done with like the 1022 magazines, right? Like, it was designed for the rifle, and the Charger pistol wasn't even a thing at the time when that magazine was designed, and the law says designed for. And then the Charger pistol becomes a thing because the US law, you'd have to buy a tax stamp if you want to call it a short barreled rifle, so they call it a pistol, which then fucks us up here. And now we're at 10 rounds only for a 1022 for a thing that very few people in this country probably own, if anyone at all.
Yeah, and I
Right?
mean the giant one of the big uses was people going small game hunting and running out or
Yeah,
chasing
but
after running
it
rabbits.
shows that despite the fact that the wording in the law was very clear,
Yeah.
they decided that nope, doesn't matter. It's now used in this, much like the AR and the 10 round or 5 round capacity and whatnot. They're like, well, if I put like 5 rounds of 50 Beowulf into this and just so happen to be able to use it in an AR that takes 5.56, and now I can fit 14 rounds in it, they also deem that as dual use. So now it's to whatever the smaller capacity is, right? They're never going to do something in your favor. They're always going to make it so that it is more difficult.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that I
Also,
found a loophole. I'm just saying
the problem with this is that so great, like no new designs of semi-auto guns that take detachable magazines. But that still leaves us with the older designs and things that were manufactured, right? Except that with C21 and the framework and this committee now that can decide at whim what is and is not a prohibited item, they can just go and by order in council prohibit something.
Well, yeah, they already
Did,
proved that.
did they describe the process for this? So the Firearms Advisory Committee is going to make an advisory to the governing council, who would then write an
Yeah.
ordering council that would move something into the prohibited category. Is that the?
Yeah, so the bill includes a requirement for a parliamentary review of the technical definition 5 years after it comes into effect.
Oh, that's 100% just getting rubber stamped. No one's going to read
Yeah.
those.
Yeah,
No,
That's-
but
that's
it
nothing
gives
to
them the thing to like in 5 years from now, if they realize that they haven't made it
Yeah.
strict enough, they will make it
Change
stricter.
that, yeah.
so like, is this affected?
But-
I mean, so is this affected just future stuff, or like if allegedly
Well-
you may have had something at home, like a PCC of any sort, does that make it
So-
prohibited now?
No. So this is only like this is future designs. So anything that has been designed and manufactured after last Friday is that falls under this definition is prohibited. So if I go and create a brand new design that is a semi-auto rifle that takes a detachable magazine and the magazine is capable of holding more than 5 rounds, I have created a prohibited device.
So
But a magazine that holds more than 5 rounds is already a prohibited device.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but a magazine that is, so if I go and make a new rifle that can take AR mags, even if
Yeah.
I have it pinned to 5,
Yeah.
prohibited device because the magazine can be unpinned, even though that in and of itself is breaking the law.
so you'd have to
It's
make a
double
proprietary.
illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to make a proprietary mag and only make a 5 round mag, not be capable of having an
Yes.
AR style pin to 5, even
But
if it's a
like-
whole different design than an AR mag.
One could always just 3D print a magazine that has the same, for lack of a better term,
Dimensions.
footprint.
Yeah.
And a longer thing, or if they have any sort of minor welding ability, would be able to make a magazine that. But the problem is so
Sten guns for everybody.
exactly.
Yeah.
For legal purposes, that was a joke.
Allegedly.
Unless they're those semi-auto Sten guns that were manufactured and designed prior to last Friday, in which case those are totally legal for now.
Yeah, 100%.
But because of this committee and all of the things now, if anyone is to create some rifle that circumvents this that they don't like, they can just go, boom, oh, I see it. It's prohibited now because we say that it's too scary, and our review council has determined that because they have the power to do
So-
that.
Do you suppose that that's the path forward for gun
Us being wrong?
classification, categorization in this country now? That everything is just going to be done by OIC and it's not going to be
Yeah.
done through technical
I mean,
characteristics in the firearms lab?
It
Well,
was already
so-
Isn't that what
no,
happened
it's-
with the original list that came out though? They had some pretty nonsensical descriptors in there, and it was
So, but
I
not
think
even
it's
that.
going to
Like,
be both.
okay.
but I mean, technically, if you want to go by saying that we actually did anything by the technical characteristics of the weapon,
We did.
the AR-15 should have never been on a restricted.
No, it was restricted by name, and that's what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so. I mean, you're asking if that's how it's going to be now, but I'm like, we were already
Well-
partially there due to
Yeah, I think
they
it's
banned
probably
the
just gonna
AR-15.
be.
Didn't matter if
Well,
you
this
put a
is gonna
26
make
inch
it-
barrel on
But that also
But-
means then that they're just making it a common practice rather than,
Yeah, this just
you
makes
know,
it
But
just
they
like
easier
already
for
did.
shot
them
in the
so that
dark.
anything that comes out that is this description, this technical definition. So a semi-auto rifle that has a detachable magazine, that has a magazine that holds more than 5 rounds, which, like, if you're designing anything in the US market, it's going to have a magazine that's more than 5 rounds,
Yeah,
automatically is prohibited in Canada.
okay,
Doesn't matter if they go and make a
right,
5 round and 5 round only magazine. The fact that it was designed to be used with a magazine that's capable of holding more than 5 rounds automatically makes anything that is a new design prohibited.
Yep.
So they will go
That's
by the technical definition there, and then
complex.
you're fucked. And for any of the older stuff, all they have to do now, like they were trying to sneak that list in previously as one of the amendments, G42 or G4, whatever, it was one or the other, that had like that list of like fucking everything to make it actual law. They now don't need to do that because the framework to basically prohibit anything they want, they just send it to the review board, and the review board will give it its new classification because they have the authority to do that.
right.
And then it's
Which-
law.
So that's
Even though it's
half the
not.
problem, is that it's just setting precedent for a really, really ridiculous way to, and it's like, it's just hobbling up the firearms community is what it's
Yeah.
doing. It's finding a lawful way to slowly pressure you out of being that person that owns a firearm or is in the firearms community. Because
So-
it's not even just, think about it in terms of what you were saying, Gavin, like if a producer is or a manufacturer is building a firearm, if it does not meet the specs on base
Yeah.
model, then it's not going to really come into Canada, right? So then you've got, yeah, and I mean, we know that they're going to make transfers a lot harder too of firearms. They've already done that with pistols and things like
Well, you
that.
can't do that at all anymore unless you happen to
they're-
fall into a certain
You're right, a very small
special
demographic of
class.
people. Yeah, exactly. So it's just setting a precedent for making it very challenging. Or I think that what's going to happen is you're going to see a huge percentage of firearms owners or people that were on the cusp of being enthusiasts, let's say,
Yeah.
as they
Become-
retire, as they, as
Become
estates
floods.
get staled, well, as estates get settled, as inheritances occur, like you're just not going to see people picking up those
Well, they
I guess
won't.
that
I mean, they
pastime.
won't be able to.
They won't be able to
Yeah.
half the time. But even if you are able to, it's going to be so much red tape. Like I remember, Andrew, you kind of mentioned this a couple of years ago, I think, about how they're making it really hard for people to become instructors too, right? Is that not right?
Yes.
There's like a pretty small, so it's just this constant continuation of, if we make it
Well, yeah.
harder, then people are just
mean-
going to fall off and do the work for us.
Well, there's going to
Right.
be no new designs coming into this country because
Yeah.
it's already hard enough to get an American manufacturer to build something that complies to Canadian law, because they'll want to put like a 16, a 17-inch barrel on it, and then all of a sudden, well, that becomes restricted in Canada and limits who can buy it and who will buy it. So
Yeah.
like getting them to build a special model that's exactly the same but just has a slightly longer barrel is already
Yeah.
enough of a pain in the
Complicated,
ass. And now they're going to have to build a proprietary
platform.
magazine that can only
Yeah,
hold
like-
5 rounds. Like, there's no friggin' way. So it'd only be a Canadian manufacturer that would ever dare to do this. But like, as we've
Right.
seen with Canadian manufacturing for the vast majority of industry, one, it's subpar at best, and two, who would ever want to get into that business now, knowing that at any
Mhm.
moment
Yeah,
your
5
product
years
could
from
be
now,
prohibited? I
they
mean, look
could-
at ATRS and what they went through, where like their rifle has not been legally prohibited, but the RCMP has still sent them a cease and desist.
Yeah.
And
So I read through C21 and I noticed there was a couple of things that they failed to include, or at least things that I didn't see when I read the text of C21. It addresses manufacturing of ghost guns, sort of,
Sort of.
but
Yeah.
it's still, from what I can tell, it's still legal for me to manufacture my own firearm and, depending on the category of firearm, register it with the government.
In theory.
So it looks to me like I could, in my garage workshop, build myself a non-restricted firearm of an existing design. It looks
How
to
is
me
that not a
like,
ghost gun?
because I'm going to register it with the government where applicable.
yeah, you
Okay.
just need to get in touch with the RCMP, tell them, hey, I
It just
built
sounds
this.
like a
this-
huge headache.
No, yeah,
Well,
but it
but
doesn't matter.
there's a
Legally, you
provision
can do
for-
it as long as you do that.
It looks like I can build myself my own non-restricted firearm, and possibly restricted firearms under certain circumstances, provided I register them.
So long as it's not a pistol.
So long as it's
Would
not a
need-
pistol or a machine
Or an
gun
AR. An
Yeah.
AR.
or some other kind of prohibited firearm. But it looks to me like
Yeah.
I could manufacture firearms. What I don't see addressed at all, because the manufacturing thing is like kind of sort of addressed, but not
Entirely.
sufficiently, not adequately. Well, because like there are provisions to the manufacture of 3D printed firearms in this bill, but it doesn't actually address 3D printing of firearms. It's a very strange language in the bill.
Yeah.
So then is
Um,
that just like subject to interpretation case by
I-
case?
Well, that's
I think so.
the problem. Yeah.
But
Well,
my-
that
my
also
point
is problematic.
My
Yeah,
point
but they
is that
left
like
it.
my point is putting 3D printing aside. If I go to Home Depot and I buy myself some Schedule 40 pipe and a 2x4,
Yeah.
I can build myself a non-restricted slam fire shotgun in my garage workshop. And if I build myself a short barreled slam fire shotgun, as long as I register it with the government, it is, as far as I can
Legal.
tell, still legal. The piece that it fails to address at all anywhere in Bill C-21 is what they're going to do with anyone who does not comply with the law. There's nothing in here that actually deals with any sort of criminal organizations, criminal use, firearms trafficking, illegal importation, illegal distribution of firearms. This is
illegal
all
possession.
But is
illegal storage.
C21 an amendment to
an
No.
amendment
That's
to
an
amend-
amends the
amendment to the
criminal
firearm.
code?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's
so it
nothing-
amends the criminal code for legal gun owners.
But there's
Yeah.
Right?
nothing
Like
That's
it,
about
it
it.
doesn't amend the criminal code for criminals. Like
This is
No,
my
all
no.
of
point.
these things that they're saying we can't do anymore. We already obliged by law.
Right.
we are
but
not
what
changing-
They're
but we're
just
not
essentially
changing.
saying that if you don't
Yeah.
abide by that, you are classified as a criminal and are subject to the
no.
criminal code,
So
right?
so
But
yes
there's
and
nothing
no.
in here
They-
that
they've
actually
changed.
impacts criminals.
No,
There's nothing in here
And-
that impacts anyone that is breaking any of our existing firearms laws. This is just further limiting
No.
my
The-
enjoyment of property that I would otherwise lawfully be in possession of.
right?
What
And-
wasn't
But so, and that was the problem is, and several senators brought that point up, is that like in this entire bill, they don't address any of the like the actual factors of crime, and
Yeah.
they can't even prove it.
Right, like,
no, that
so-
they shouldn't. You shouldn't say they
Well-
don't address any of the factors, because they do address that there was a recommendation to change the Canadian Firearms Safety Course to include information on mental health and suicide prevention.
Yes.
Because
They don't
people who
do a
kill
good job
themselves,
in
of-
any meaningful way.
people who kill
Right,
themselves
like-
definitely go through the process of obtaining a legal firearm by taking the firearm safety course.
Yes.
I have such a bone to pick with that whole idea. It's like
You mean
there's a mental health crisis, if you will, whatever, all the things.
Right.
And all they're doing is telling you like,
tune in
oh,
last week
hey,
to find out about medical assistance in dying.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Right.
what are the stats on that on Canadian death,
Well-
the percentage of it being
Oh,
from
you can't get health care? Have you considered killing yourself
right.
instead?
But that's what I mean. Like this whole thing, I'm like, it's such
Well,
a pony show. Like it's
So-
not. Oh,
I would have
mind
referred to
blowing.
it as a donkey show, but I mean, either or.
No, so I mean,
especially if it's in Tijuana.
so I have my whole issues with people. I'm not saying that I support people deciding to take their own lives, but who am I to tell someone that they shouldn't?
Some people, I support some people doing that.
I
Look at
don't
you,
disagree.
certain
so
I don't
government
I
disagree.
think
officials.
it's less. I think it's less to do that with that and
No,
more.
no, it's
that-
not though.
Uh,
It's
You
the
are
pushing
so
of it.
yeah. So I can go out and I can buy any knife. I can buy anything to do the thing with it.
yeah,
No questions asked.
sure.
But you are putting limitations on someone being capable of doing it with a firearm. Right?
So
Yes, unfortunately that happens. Fine.
C21 doesn't put any new
Doesn't.
limitations on you committing
No.
suicide, though.
no,
No.
so but here's the problem. Everybody looks at it like we already know it's a gong show and the government is band-aiding a situation. Okay. There's no way around that. I think that we have to accept that this is just a shit show. Like,
Yes.
well, maybe you don't have to accept it. You have to acknowledge that that's what it is and say
Well, but
they're
this
not
is-
interested. They're not trying to actually say, hey, this,
No.
what they're saying is that this is our attempt to solve a gun violence problem, a trafficking issue,
Except
a
that the
mental
problem
health
with that
death,
is that
but
like
that's all bullshit.
the mental health part of it is a big part of it because like 2/3 of all firearms related deaths are suicide. So
Yeah.
but
Yep.
that doesn't address the homicide part of it. And the problem
Yep.
is that like you have to separate out those two because there's places like the UK that have done this and instantly banned guns and all of the things. And all of a sudden the death rate by firearm dropped drastically because people can't own them anymore. So they're not committing suicide with firearms.
Right.
Right,
So they
so-
think
it
that there's a
doesn't
win.
mean, but it doesn't
if
mean
you
that their
look at the
suicide rate is
overall-
going down at all.
Exactly.
Right,
But this
and
is the
if you
point
look
that
at
I'm
the
trying to get at,
methods,
though. This is the
like
point that I'm trying to
firearms
get at.
is-
They are not even looking at
No,
like it's just a band-aid and they're using a different like
Yes.
hot
And-
ticket
it's not even-
item to
it's not
blame
even
it
a
on.
band-aid.
Exactly.
It's not even a
And-
band-aid because I mean,
No,
if
but
people are
they're
gonna
calling
but if
it
people
that.
are
It's virtue signaling at its finest.
Yeah. if people are gonna take pills to commit suicide, hey, maybe we should regulate pills, which is already way more regulated in
They
a
don't
sense.
give a
This is
shit.
the
They're
thing,
not going to
they're-
regulate.
No, but-
they're not going to do
but-
that because they make money off of it.
No, so
Guns
they're
are
They're
regulated.
doing this
symbolism.
because they
They're
can
just
show the
not-
numbers, like Liz is saying,
Yeah.
that the number has come down.
Yeah.
Look, the number has come down by 2/3, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it hasn't though. They've just changed the way that they're
The metric has
doing
just
it.
shifted. And
and
so
the
and
fact
even
that-
then, if you look at the methods, like firearms is like 4th on the list, so it's not
Yeah.
even the top 3.
well,
So
and
there's still a bigger problem, and that's the mental health part. So all of the money that they're wasting on this, where they said something
Yeah.
like, what is it, like $8 billion or $8 million
either
has
way.
been spent on this so far. And they haven't even bought a single fucking gun back in all of this. So like millions of dollars that if you put that into mental
Yeah,
health,
and
you're
Yeah,
not going to
actual
just
mental
stop
health.
the firearms ones.
so
You're
now
going
that
to help possibly prevent all of the other ones
Yeah.
as well.
But guys,
has
we also
any
have
of
to
the
remember.
studies
What?
Why
Sorry?
are all of the studies on Stats Canada relating to suicide with firearms from before the year 2000? Do they not have anything from the current century?
Probably
that's
not.
my
No.
So the other thing is, okay, all the homicide and suicide rates or whatever, like has any of the numbers gone down since the OIC, where
No,
all
they've
these
got all of those
They
stats have gone
also-
up. They've all gone up since Trudeau came into
was
power
gonna
however many
say-
years ago.
They
Yeah.
also
Like-
the entire Stats Canada process has been
Is
become
bullshit.
such it's become such a clusterfuck and they blamed it on COVID. but and like
Also-
data collection, but it's absolutely insanity. And
They
I
they
will
don't
say, sorry, go ahead.
they don't collect good stats either. So part of the other
No.
thing that the committee recommends is that like they actually start tracking to see
Yeah.
in a crime where a gun has been used or found, is the gun legally owned? And
Yeah.
like, was it the legal owner that used it?
Yeah.
Because
Like,
they're
there's
not tracking that. And they're
well,
using
and
those like made up stats and going, oh, like we're preventing the
but
law-abiding
to
citizen
be
that jumps through
fair,
all the hoops from owning a handgun because
Yeah,
those
and
handguns are finding their way into the streets when they're not. They
well,
can't even
guys,
prove that they are.
my tinfoil crown is just a little, you know,
Too
studded
loose?
these days because I truly believe that like you were talking about, you were using a comparison of like people taking pills there, Pierre. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. They would never regulate that because that is such a profit building margin
No, so
that they
it
would
is
never regulate. Like, so what you're saying, like you're
it's
trying to
regulated.
compare
I can't
apples to
I can't
no, but you're trying to
no, but
compare apples to apples here. But the thing is that I believe that the firearms industry is too empowering. That's why they've attacked this. Because people that are usually part of the firearms community are a little fringe. They really are. And they're usually folks that are like, hey, don't mess with me. Right?
Yeah, because we have guns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's just a little bit
So
of a confidence in that. So going back and trying to, and this is why I say my tinfoil crown here, because that's the attack mode. Is they're like, hey, this is the group of people that are giving us the most grief. So the more
Yeah.
we restrain them and restrict them, they don't care about people actually committing suicide. Like obviously
They don't care about people
the
committing
pills,
crimes either, based
all
on
that
the
stuff.
shit that's in
see,
this
but
bill.
with what you said there, like we are not the people giving them grief. Legal
Yeah, I
gun
know that.
owners in
But
this
we're
country
also
are not
not
the people
Politically, we
giving
are.
them
but
grief.
there's a huge percentage of us that are firearms owners that are not controllable either. And that's what's scary. That's what's scary to them.
Politically, we're
I mean,
giving
so
them
I need to
grief.
come up with a
Yeah.
new game plan because I always thought I'd just cut a section out of my wall, put everything in the wall, and drywall around it. But how much I hate fucking drywall, I need to come up with a plan B.
Yes, you do.
Yes, get better at drywalling. That's plan
Yeah.
B.
No, that is not the fucking plan. Trust me.
So,
But-
closing comments on C21 before we go around. It is getting a bit
I have a solution for the.
a final
Hold on, let me
solution.
go back. Yes, a final solution. It's going to be a promotion for the 24 people and a solution for the 60 people that voted this through.
Okay.
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 We'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I would say that a closing remark that I have is that people need to pay attention to what this means. It does not mean that, that specific firearm in your closet or in your gun safe is at risk. It means that your liberties are at risk and you need to figure that out. You need to understand that.
Yeah, everything else is at risk.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And people need to stop being so worried about their, what's going on today and realize that if folks don't sort this stuff out and actively become either involved in understanding it or involved in stopping it, then, it's not going to be long before there are people that are coming into your house and either arresting you for having them or taking them away. So
quick side tangent, even though I said my solution was way cheaper. No, but right. So people coming in and saying, hey, you're a criminal and they're going to take it away. If they take all these away, and let's say you bought one too many bags of rice this month, what's going to stop someone from coming into your house?
Well,
This
exactly.
is where
I mean,
this is the start. This is the start.
It's an American example because their rights seem to be more enshrined than ours are. But like the Second
also
Amendment
fought
is
for their
there to
rights,
ensure
though.
that you continue to be able to use the First Amendment,
yeah, but
right? Which is the
also
freedom of speech and all of the
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
So like,
So
it's hard
so yeah,
to enforce any of your rights if you don't have the
a
ability
way to the ability
to
to
enforce them.
protect.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
we
true.
already technically can't enforce them, but having the capability of it and deciding to defend
Well,
your
there are
stance on something is
four
different,
boxes
right?
of
Like,
liberty.
yeah, there are boxes and all that, but you can take
We're
the
using the
challenge
first
of,
three of them at this point, and at
Yeah,
some
they're-
point, it might be time to use the fourth box, which
Yeah.
is less fun, but maybe more fun all at the same time.
There you
Less
go.
fun
Yes,
for
I think
other
we're at the
people.
point where now it is not enough to just not be a liberal. We must be actively anti-liberal.
Yeah, the apathy is really, I think, what is going to take people down a path. Like, that's problematic in my books. And I'm not calling anybody to action per se. I'm calling people to
Yet.
be head
No,
out of the
because
sand.
that would be a surefire way to get you a visit from one of our wonderful agencies.
Again, I'm
Yes.
kind of interested to know what that would be like.
So,
Underwhelming.
in my defense, I
Yeah.
did fill this cup up a second time.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll
Yeah.
help when they knock,
It-
but
It's
We'll
not
make
that
it.
exciting, allegedly.
Allegedly. Liz, where can everybody find you on the internet?
Here.
Perfect. Pierre, where can everybody find you on the internet?
here as well as Sundays, the Copy CPP Prepper podcast on YouTube's Bookface. And if you want some swag stuff, laser engraved or t-shirt, off the wall customizing, I think we're still on the socialist medias. I don't take care of that. So if we're not, message me and I will yell at Mel for it.
Right on. Gavin, where can everybody find you?
Well, when I'm not here or out enjoying a succulent Chinese meal, you can find me on Instagram at UrbexGTA.
I'm not sure if we're going with Christmas traditions or succulent Chinese meal for a show title.
If you
Oh,
use
buddy,
that as a show
succulent
title,
Chinese.
you will get all of the YouTube hits, let me tell you.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Metrics, bro, metrics.
All right.
Yep, it's all about the metrics.
You've talked me into it. If you've listened to the show this long, you certainly deserve a discount code. If you're shopping at Ragnarok Tactical, use discount code Patriot at checkout. Save yourself some money on shipping. If you're a serving member and you contact me by Instagram, I guess I could provide you a great deal of customer service by going and getting the products and taking crappy cell phone photos of them on the kitchen table and going over all of the pouches that are included in your order and making sure that they're satisfactory.
I need
Saying I've-
details.
Hey,
premium customer service on the weekend, getting an order ready to go out to somebody in Petawawa.
Ah, yeah, I need details after the show.
I was gonna say you sound so enthusiastic.
But
I just
thank you for your service. That's good. Most people wouldn't, but I still need details for douchebag.
Yeah, I hope that you enjoy sleeping in your car because the Canadian Forces doesn't pay us enough to do our jobs, and we can't afford housing for our troops. But at least I can send you some stuff so you look cool in the field.
And you got tampons in the men's room.
Well, you can't forget about the tampons in the men's room. That's
Yeah, you might get a nosebleed in there.
And they're free.
Oh, okay. Guys, I was so excited. I actually helped a kid in a like we were in an MMA class. I shoved a tampon up his nose to stop a really aggressive nosebleed. It was epic.
They work really well for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like if it was a dude, you'd probably be the most certified person to figure that out.
But no, so here's the thing. He bled through like gauze. Like I did, the normal thing, and he bled through it and couldn't keep training.
They
So
work
I was like,
really
hey,
well
bro, how
for
do you feel
nosebleeds.
about doing this?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Work really
whatever.
well for it.
He was an 18-year-old kid and he was so up for it. And I was like, awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
that gets worse.
Yeah.
Watch, he's gonna be 20 and he's gonna be using those fucking tampons in the man's bathroom.
Yeah, but you know what? He got to finish training like an hour. And it was fine.
My worry is he's gonna be wanting a train on him later.
I have to apologize to Roy Giltaca for that.
What?
Sorry, Rod. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable views.